Fiddler British Strongman podcast. Good morning, happy Easter. We have Shane Flowers this morning. So Shane, tell us a bit about your background and your rise from powerlifting and how you've made it to your world's invite, and all the principles you've lived by to get there. Like, what do you value?
I started training about 12 years ago. Started powerlifting January 2015. I was in the BDFBA and the IPF for a long time. That's when I met Luke Richardson in 2016, actually. Stuck around in the powerlifting for a fair few years, for about 5 or 6 years, I think. And then obviously when the lockdown hit, we couldn't get to a gym anymore. So me and my brother started training on the driveway. We just had things like a couple of farmers' handles, kegs, sandbags, all that kind of stuff. And then there was actually Fit Expo were hosting like the deadlift championships. I think you did that, or you did the log championships.
Yeah.
I signed up for that because at the time I pulled 420 and I thought, right, I want to see if I can get closer to £1,000. So I signed up for the deadlift championships, and then Fit Expo announced that they're actually going to host England's Strongest Man. And obviously me and my brother Mitch at the time were toying with the idea of Strongman. And
so it wasn't like a conscious transition it wasn't something that you planned. It was just
I'd already signed up to the deadlift championships, and I was literally just training deadlift only at that time. And then we did start training a little bit of strongman, but when I mean like a little bit, I mean me and my brother were log pressing like 110, 120 kilo for like triples, and we were struggling. And then I don't know what happened, but someone just clicked and we just both said fuck it, basically, and we signed up. And then obviously because we were still in the middle of like lockdowns and stuff, the competition had postponements, I think twice. So it was initially scheduled to be in like April or May or whenever it was. So we started prepping in January, and then we didn't actually get to the competition until August. So we prepped for like 8 months solid. And then it was probably the worst prep anybody could ever wish for, just because of the dates and stuff. But then also I had so much going on in my home life. I was like homeless at one point during that 8 months. And then 2 weeks out, I was coaching myself, and I was probably a bit stupid, but I tore my hamstring. I had a grade 2 tear in my hamstring. And I was almost, you ask Mitch, I was like, I'm done. I'm going to pull out of this. There's no point. I've not even competed in strongman yet, and I'm already carrying injuries and stuff. And I started that prep with a slipped disc as well. So most of the prep was just rehab for my back, and then I did my hamstring in. So we got to Fit Expo, England's Strongest Man, and we were both fucked, both like covered in K tape and nursing injuries and limping around and stuff. And it was actually the day before the competition. Obviously, we were in the expo, and I was in so much pain walking around with my hamstring and my shin splints at the time that I couldn't walk. I had to basically get like carried out and then loaded into a car and taken back to the hotel. And then I don't know what the fuck happened, but come comp day, we switched it on, and we pulled out of the bag. But yeah, it was crazy. And then I was hoping after that to have some downtime to fix some injuries and niggles, and then just kind of slowly build up as a strongman.
Yeah.
But then
so for people who don't know your background and what you've done in the last, say, 6 to 9 months, just tell us a little bit more about your successes. So obviously you've talked about how you started off in powerlifting and transitioned to strongman. So what have you actually achieved in the last 12 months for people who don't know Shane Flowers? What things are you most proud of, and what's the next goal, the immediate goal?
So I won the online qualifier for England's Strongest Man, and then I won England's Strongest Man. I think I won 3 out of the 6 events. I think I won the throwing bag, the frame carry, and
that was your first comp, wasn't it? So that was Shane being a novice, really. That was your novice comp, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then that was the competition that got me invited to Giants. So I competed at Giants Live, I think like 8 weeks after that. And that's when I jumped on board with Shane from MST. And we didn't even really prepare for that. We were just more focused on rehabbing injuries and stuff and just getting to the competition in better nick than what I was at England's. that Brits went okay. Obviously, it was a massive step up. So the nerves, you know, the body wasn't feeling brilliant. The events weren't particularly great, but I still think I come 7th, I think. I think I was just a couple points off 5th, I think. Didn't win any events, did pretty well.
So you came 7th out of what? How many? What, 11, 12 or something, was
11,
it?
like that, yeah.
So just for your second comp, like obviously being at Giants Live, like and say, oh yeah, the events weren't particularly great for you. Like, just give us an idea. Like, name some of the people that you actually beat at your first Giants Live. Who were some of the guys that came below you, like 8th, 9th, 10th? Can you remember?
Yeah, Paul Smith.
Who's that? What does Paul Smith look like?
Paul, like the.
Oh, okay.
Not getting there. Yeah, I beat Paul, beat Andy, beat who else? They were the two names that I remember because they came back to the Brits again this year.
Yeah.
But I did the best event that I had at that competition was the loading, where we had like a keg, an anchor, a keg, a sandbag, and a tire that had to be loaded into a skip. They were all around like 100, 120 kilos, something like that. Yeah. And I think Tom won that, and then it was Luke, and then I was 3rd. I think I was about 1.5, 2 seconds behind Tom. But Joey, the guy from Official Strongman, noticed that I made a bit of a mistake and a bit of a blunder that cost me around 2 seconds as well. So he actually sent me that via DM, and when I read it, and he said, you know, you lost about 2 seconds there. I was like, oh fuck, because I thought I was quick, but yeah, that was my first.
So that must have been amazing to like do, like, even though you finished 7th or whatever, and obviously you're setting your standards really high, but you know, like stuff like, say, your static stuff, you can kind of speculate with like how you do, you know, like if you see somebody doing a 140 log for reps, or you see someone even doing like a 140, 150 farmers or whatever, you could say, right, oh, I can do X amount in training or whatever. And you hear a lot of people doing that. But something like a medley, where it's kind of hard to predict where you'd finish. Am I going to finish like top 3? Am I going to be bottom 3? Like 5 seconds, 10 seconds can make
one little step up as well. One little, you fumble one of the implements or something like that, just lose so much.
Are you doing that at your first like Giants comp and doing so well in that? Like doing it where it matters, like on the dance floor, must have been amazing. It must have been like reassuring for yourself.
It is, but I'm my worst critic. So, you know, there are periods where I come out of a competition, I think, you know, I'm quite happy with that, and all the rest. But I always come out of a competition, even like the second I'm in the car going back to the hotel after leaving the competition.
You're thinking about that 2 second slip up.
I lost on this, I lost points on that, and it, you know, it's probably unhealthy. It's an unhealthy way to do it, but that's who I am. That's what I do. So,
but that's it. But having that mindset is like a kind of double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like you obviously very critical of yourself, but it's the thing that keeps you sharp and keep you firing, and say, not get complacent and rest on your laurels and stuff. So
I think it's fine to be like that as long as you're enjoying the journey and enjoying the process. If you're both fixated on like the end destination and you're not enjoying any of it, and then you're being so self-critical, that's when it becomes like a negative thing. But I am enjoying the journey, but at the same time, I'm also being probably my harshest critic I can. So one of the reasons why we've kind of taken that step up. And at the first Giants Live, my goal was literally just to survive it, basically, and then not embarrass myself, and then hopefully secure invites to the Giants Live competitions this year. So it worked out in the end. Yeah.
So if talking about being like self-critical and stuff, have you noticed like it's really important to look and when you're self-coaching, it can be quite difficult to be like rationalize things, you know, like say if you were coaching somebody in your position, and like it'd be a lot easier to be rational and logical all the time with all the decisions, whereas with yourself it's hard to get away from the emotion attached to whatever you've just done. So from an outsider looking in, I think it's great that you're kind of building your team, you know, like obviously with say training with Mitch and stuff, that's got to be useful. But also you taking the jump to work with Shane and having somebody you like and trust, like somebody to bounce ideas off. Because obviously you must have times where you're kind of being too critical of yourself, and
Yeah.
you have somebody there who you trust to say, hang on a minute, Shane, this is X, Y, and Z. Look at this. What do you think about that? Do you find that helpful, having like building a team?
Yeah, massively, especially the biggest. I mean, there's so many people involved in my team as well. It's not just obviously a large part of it is Shane, but then it's the physios that I've got, it's the nutritionist, it's friends and family and stuff. But when it comes to coaching, I've always been pretty disciplined, even when I'm kind of coaching myself. But I just think the knowledge wasn't there for me to start competing at that high level of strongman so early, so soon. And then obviously I had a relatively good insight into how Shane does his coaching anyway, because my brother Mitch was coached by Shane for about a year before I joined the team. So yeah, I just had to basically put all my faith in Shane, all my faith in these other people. And some people I think struggle with that. You know, they struggle not being able to control all the different variables and stuff. But you just need to have that trust with your coach, don't you, basically, and try and remove your ego from a situation.
Yeah.
And Shane, I probably messaged Shane way too much info at like 1 o'clock in the morning. He's just like, fuck's sake, Shane, go to bed or something. But yeah, I bombard him with feedback. I think that's the way, you know, if you're doing online coaching, that's the way you need to be. So
yeah, brilliant. So in your opinion, what's the most important personality trait that someone would need to be successful in strongman?
Intrinsically disciplined, not relying on any motivation, because motivation will dwindle. You know, I've not been motivated now really for 6-7 months. I'm not motivated to, you know, finish a 12-hour shift and then go and train till 1 o'clock in the morning. That wears thin really quickly.
Yeah,
but
we talk about it quite a lot on here. Like quite a few people who are doing well in their kind of whatever their lane is, like that. I find that's a common thing, that luckily, like a lot of people who seem to be doing well don't actually rely on motivation, like it seems, and it doesn't really matter how you feel. You just do it, don't you?
Motivation comes and goes, but if you want to be, I think, successful at the higher ends of sport, like especially with strongman, then you need to be 100% all the time. So you can't just be relying on motivation, because then when you have a down day, you'll be missing meals, or you won't be doing your recovery, or your training will be sloppy. So that's probably the key thing that I would say. That's the number one personality trait, and it's not many people truly understand it, I don't think. Like,
can we dig a little bit deeper? Can you tell us a little bit more about, like, say, the training phase where you were homeless or nearly homeless? Like, how did you keep going during that? How did you not just say, right, fucking hell, let's pack training up, I've got more important things to do?
See, I don't have to, you know, I don't wake up in the morning and think, right, I'm going to eat my meals today, I'm going to do my recovery, I'm going to smash my training. For me, it's a matter of, if I don't do those things, then it really sits not right with me at all. So it probably sounds, again, it's unhealthy, and I'm probably on the spectrum somewhere. But literally, if I don't do things, then it affects me really negatively.
Yeah.
So it's not a choice that I make. I've already made the decision before I wake up that I'm going to do those things. And I'll give you an example. If I'm really tired and it's a long day, and I think, oh, I'll just miss that last meal and I'll go to bed. Yeah. I'll be wide bed, even though I'm knackered, I'll be wide awake. And there's times where I've got up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, gone downstairs, made the meal, ate the meal, then gone back to bed, and then I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I know it's probably,
no. Yeah. I think you've listened to quite a few episodes on here, and you understand like the kind of ethos that me and Shane have, and like that's something that personally I can completely relate to, whether it be in business, whether it be in sport, like me competing, me coaching with the people that I train. Like, those are the principles that I completely live by, and like consistency is my, like,
yeah.
I've used some examples of work, like when I've been Like say when I competed in India and I flew back on the Sunday and landed at 2 p.m. in Manchester and then went straight to the gym because I deadlift on Mondays. I always deadlift on Mondays. Like I just couldn't, like when my baby was born and she was in hospital for a week, and we got to the point where she was stable, and I went to the gym to do some deadlift, just to do some speed work to get it ticked off in my head.
Yeah.
And like looking back, there must be times that you could probably relate to that and think there are probably times where I should have just fucking not gone, or I should have just left it till the following week. Like it's not necessarily, I suppose what I'm saying is that these kind of traits, they're not actually for, we're not saying for everybody listening that this is the right thing to do, because if you tried to get some people to do that, like it would send them the other way. But I think someone like you needs that structure and routine, and like it just like you say, it's just there, isn't it? It just eats away at you until you get it ticked off, and then you can think about other stuff for a little bit until the next day comes around, and then you're like, oh.
It's just ticking boxes. That's how I kind of see it. Boxes, and the more boxes I can tick for a longer period of time, like I want to go into a competition and think, over the last 3 or 4 months, I've ticked every single box. And I think when you're actually there in the moment, you think there's not a single thing I could have done different. That's quite a powerful thing. Whereas you deep down know if you've not been 100.
And personally, I think that's a really powerful thing in rationalizing defeat or losing, or like to get to, if you're, what's your ultimate goal? Like, let's be straight. What do you want to do? What do you want to do within Strongman? Like, what's the ultimate goal?
Just have a legacy. Just be one of the best British strongman there ever has been. I'm not going to say win world's strongest man, because in this day and age, the standard's ridiculous and stuff. But
yeah,
I look at people like Terry Hollands, who's done however many world's strongest man competitions now, and I think his top performance is 3rd or 4th, something like that. I'd love that. A long career, 10, 12, 15 years, making the final, making top 5, making top 3. But that's my plan, to be consistent. I don't want to just be a one-shot wonder, do it once, win well, go. That's it. I can see myself for a good long while. So
that's it. And if we can project that, like say 12-year journey or whatever, like you're going to fail a lot on the way, aren't you? Like, and I think, and like, you're okay with that because because you've got those fundamental things that you've just said. If you go to a show and you finish last, but you've ticked all those boxes, and you couldn't have done any better on those particular events in that particular circumstance. Like,
exactly what happened at Europe's just gone 3 weeks ago, wherever it was. I don't think I could have done anything better. I think, but I also had the biggest failure that I've had, in my opinion, since I started Strongman, was that last at the Stone. It cost me 3rd place. But since then, we've kind of realised why it happened, addressed the reasons, and now we're focusing on making sure it doesn't happen again. So I think that loss will probably be one of the best things that's happened to me. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Brilliant. So you came 4th recently at Europe's, didn't you? Very, very close to the podium.
I was sat in 3rd for the majority, and then I think going into the Atlas Stones, I was 3rd, 2 points clear of 4th. All I needed to do was not mess up, and then obviously didn't get the last stone up. And can you hear me? Yeah.
And
then, I dropped down to 5th place. So it cost me 5th place. And it cost me quite.
Who snuck into 4th then? Who finished 4th?
It's going into Stones. It was Novikov, Luke, me, Kordiaka, and Janasha. And Janasha from me and Kordiaka come 3rd. So yeah, it is what it is. But we've sort of, me and Shane and the physios that I've been working with and stuff, we sort of addressed the reasons why. And most of it comes down to inadequate recovery due to a lack of sleep. If I'm training and doing all this, working 60, 70 hours a week, trying full-time strongman. And my motto is, the guys that I'm competing against, they are, most of them anyway, they're professional strongmen. So if I want to if I want to match them, then I need to at least match their efforts. If I want to beat them, then I need to, surpass the efforts that they're putting in with their training, nutrition, recovery, sleep, and all the rest of it. And I just haven't been able to do that sleep. That one aspect is the sleep thing since, but we've addressed it. So hopefully,
so to be clear, I'm getting mixed up. You've done 2 Brits, haven't you?
Yeah, Brits last year.
You came 7th, then you came 4th, didn't you?
Yeah.
You came 4th. That's what I'm getting mixed up with. And then it was Europe's where you were 3rd going into the Stones and then finished 5th, wasn't it? Yeah. Great. So tell us about you. What one of the biggest excuses you hear with people in all kind of aspects of lifting, life, business, success, whatever, is people use the excuse that frustrates me, fucking hate it, when people say, I'm busy.
Yeah, it's a load of bollocks.
I'm busy. Like, tell us, what does being busy mean to you? Like, paint a picture of what you're kind of like, how you manage to fit in your work, your training to be obviously a world's strongest man athlete, and balance relationships. You're getting married, aren't you, soon? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, how do you juggle all that and manage it all?
Sometimes with difficulty, but it wasn't perfect from the onset. It's sort of been like a learning curve, but most of it is just about balancing your time and sticking to a daily schedule. So during the week especially, that's when I'm the most busiest, when I'm training and working all the hours and trying to fit in time with the missus, make sure she's happy and all the rest of it. It's just balancing my time, and every single second from the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed is occupied with things that I need to do. And I'll get to work, so I'll wake up at 5:30, I'll go to work. When I get to work, first thing I'll do is I'll comprise a list of the things that I need to do that day. So it'll be, right, I'm going to dedicate, say, 2 hours to online coaching and doing training programs or whatever. And then it'll be right.
Work through the list. What do you use? Do you use notes on your phone?
No, I literally just write it out. For some reason, I prefer just to physically write it out. Yeah. And then I just tick them off, get them all done.
I've got my notes on my phone now. That, like, today I've got my Easter Sunday notes that I'm working through. It's like I could just relate to it so much. Great.
I think the biggest excuse most people use is they don't have the time or anything. But I guarantee if you've got a smartphone, go on your settings, look at your screen time, and see how much you're watching social media and scrolling throughout the day. And we all do it. We're all guilty of it. But that's something that I've been conscious of. Since I've been busier with the Worlds prep, I'm taking more of a conscious effort to be less active on social media. I'll go on there, fulfill sponsorship obligations and do a few posts here and there, but I won't just sit there and scroll anymore.
Yeah. So that the other day someone said about your online presence or whatever, you're going to have a YouTube channel, and you were just said, right, I admire that. I think it's great because obviously there's such an opportunity there, but obviously you see
I'm still not secure enough in the strongman scene to start thinking about being a celebrity or having an online presence. I still need to be. I've got years yet of trying to be the best athlete I can.
Yeah.
Because to do the YouTube stuff as well, especially with the YouTube, is that the quality of the stuff people are putting out nowadays. You look at like the Stoltman's productions and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of money. It's a lot of time, and I'd have to do that all myself, or I'd have to pay someone to do that for myself. And I'm not in a position to do it at the moment, whereas I could spend that money and that time and that energy becoming a better athlete. So
yeah. So if there's anybody listening that could help out with Shane in any way, like just let us know, or contact Shane. Any kind of like sponsorship opportunities, you can hear what we've you can hear his philosophy and how focused he is. Like, if anybody can think of a way that we could free up a little bit of time for Shane, that'd be helpful. So let's go into like last 10 minutes, mate. Because we're both busy, aren't we, today? Let's do a bit of a quick fire round. So I'm just going to put you on the spot and then let you waffle. Probably cut you short and interrupt you and then move you on. But just a bit of fun. So, what do people misunderstand about you the most?
They think I'm hardworking all the time, whereas I'm probably the laziest person you'll ever meet. I'm either 100% or zero, and I'm only 100% on probably 3 things. That's it.
And what are those 3 things?
Strongman, family life, probably finance and business.
So tell us a little bit more about your work, about you obviously you work a lot of hours. Like what's your career?
Yeah, so pre-lockdown I was mostly online coaching, and then I only needed to do a little bit of security door work to make ends meet. And then obviously when the lockdown kicked in, all the clubs shut, most of my clients got up and left. I didn't have a lot. I had about 15, 20 at the time, but that was probably cut in half due to lack of equipment and stuff. So then I started working at an inshore oil farm. So they're basically pumping oil out the ground. It's the largest one in Western Europe. It's fucking massive. And I do from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 in the evening, Monday to Friday. And it's about an hour and a half commute either way. So it's quite long. It's not a physically or mentally demanding job, which is the reason why I chose it, because I didn't like, for example, one of my mates, Kane, your client, he digs holes for a water company all day, every day. And I looked at that, and although it's good money and all the rest of it, I thought, no fucking way am I doing that. So I needed a job that was literally, I could just, it's not a bad job. I sit on my ass, I do my online coaching. Obviously I do the work that I'm supposed to do as well. But I've got like an air fryer and I've got a George Foreman grill sat in my office. So I'll just sit there all day, meal prepping.
Brilliant. So if you could be remembered by one thing in 12 years' time, and you've had your long career, your career that you're happy with, if you could be remembered by one thing, what would it be in the context of Strongman?
Good question. That I was just relentless with everything. You know, I would go to the bitter end, and I would.
Brilliant. So what's your biggest failure in any aspect of life, and what did you learn from that experience?
Or biggest failure outside of Strongman, or?
Well, let's go for both. Go on, I'll give you an easy one first. In Strongman, and then you can kind of think in your subconscious about what you're going to say, something really profound about your rest of your life.
In Europe, in Strongman over Europe's, I've done 4 competitions, and everyone was saying, "Oh, the podium's there, Shane. Don't mess up, don't mess up." And I weren't listening to those people, because I still knew that I was in quite a lot of pain anyway with my arms, and I knew that I had quite a fight to go ahead on the stones. But I still don't regret not going for that 180 stone. If it was there now today, I'd still go for it again. But that's probably my biggest regret in Strongman, is just failing that and allowing people probably to get in my head a little bit and make me think that I've achieved it before I've actually done it. And then outside of Strongman, biggest failure, I've failed a lot. Going to university was for me, it was completely crap. 27 grand's worth of debt, 3 years of my life gone, and I don't use my degree in the slightest. That was probably, and I was away from my friends and my family when they needed me. So yeah, that was probably the biggest mistake that I've made. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a failure, but biggest mistake.
And like, what did you learn from that then? Like, looking back, is that because I do agree, I agree with that. Like I've been to uni and done a degree, and I look back and I think, I've got the piece of paper. Nobody, like, I've never had to show it to anybody. Nobody gives a fuck. Like in what I got qualified for, like my degree, it didn't actually qualify me to do anything. I got a coaching degree, right, sports coaching, and then I qualified, and I wasn't qualified to coach anything. I had to do like gym instructor qualification, but like all the individual like vocational qualifications before you could get anything anyway, which you could have done when you were 16.
Yeah, it was such a shit degree. Yeah. The lesson that I learned from that was that when I think about it, when I enrolled on the course, I wasn't passionate about it. It was, for me, it was a progression. Like, I left school, didn't really know what I wanted to do, went to college and did sport. That went to a foundation degree in sport. That went to a bachelor's degree in sport. But it was never something that I was passionate in. I just sort of fell into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the lesson I learned was if I'm not passionate about something, then I'm not going to give it my time.
Yeah.
It's as simple as.
Did you get anything from like the uni experience? Like, did you come away and think, oh, actually looking at it through a different lens, like I actually learned X, Y, and Z, or?
I didn't learn anything in terms of material. I learned obviously research methods. So when I'm, if I want to learn about, say for example, cold water immersion now, I won't just tap it into Google and read the first result.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's...
I'll go into PubMed, or I'll research it, look at meta-analysis and things like that, and then try and decipher the results for myself, and then be critical of those results. Don't just take a study on face value. But in terms of the actual material that I learned in my course, it was a load of bollocks.
Yeah, so I suppose I have noticed that with your training, which I've been impressive actually, like how meticulous you are and analytical, which obviously that's a thing that I'm passionate about, and I suppose subconsciously, like I look back at uni with resentment a lot of the time, and but subconsciously that it has taught you taught you how to research. And because I remember the first thing that I did at the uni, the first like day, it was like they gave you a topic and then came back the next day, and they said, all right, go and research this thing and then present it. And then I presented this thing that I just literally copied off Google, and I just got fucking rinsed by it. And they just said, look, this is just absolutely ridiculous. And that's what everybody did. Like everybody just Googled it and got the answers, and they just ripped into you and just said how like it didn't work, and how you needed to research into things more and how to do it better. So I suppose that has helped me. But the other thing that I got from you, the best thing from uni, I thought, was just going out on the piss and going out like picking up girls and stuff. That was like I learned how to sell myself. That I've done different aspects of going out on the pool.
It helped me personally grow up. I started uni as a kid, I think, and then obviously I ended up actually living by myself, because the two guys that enrolled in the course with me, mates, they dropped out after like the first semester. So I lived by myself in a foreign city. So, like never washing clothes before, never cooking before, all that kind of stuff. And then I probably learned more about just being an adult than I did actually university stuff. So
yeah, brilliant. So what if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be? Don't go to uni.
Don't go to uni. No. Do you know what, I kept making the mistake, and it was during my powerlifting days where I would fluctuate in body weight massively, because I was still I still cared what I looked like, and I didn't want to be the fat powerlifter. So my body weight would continue to climb. It would get to about 125, and then I'd be unhappy, and then I would do a cut, and I'd go down to like 110, 112, just to feel better. And I look back at it now and I just think, what a fucking idiot. Why I just literally put myself through misery for no reason whatsoever. Didn't make me a better person. It just made me, if anything, more vain. So yeah, I probably won't do the stupid little cuts anymore. And then apart from that, I don't really regret. I think I've done the right thing. I've built up my static strength from powerlifting, stayed there for many years, then converted over to strongman, and then it's obviously got me to where I want to be. So
a little bit more on that. Like, the thing that I've been impressed with as I suppose, as the Shane Flowers fan, is like, obviously you got the static strength from the powerlifting, the raw pressing strength, and the deadlift and the squatting and stuff. But a big limitation that I see when people come over from, say, go over to strongman from powerlifting, is that they struggle to move, or they struggle to put weights overhead, or they don't have the explosiveness, or the like. How have you got that? Like, if you watch videos of Shane throwing or moving with weights, or like push press, like you're super explosive. Like, how have you kept that like athleticism?
I think it's because, and I'm not discrediting anybody here, but powerlifters, quite a lot of them aren't the most naturally athletic people anyway. They're the kind of guys that when they play football, when they were younger, they were always the goalkeeper, or they were always like, do you know what I mean? Whereas I was since I can remember, I was always involved in sport. If it was football, rugby, I would do any sport that I could, literally. So
I find that really interesting, because that's something that I really value. I love it now. I play anything: football, squash, tennis, golf, literally anything. I just love competing. That was actually my route into sport, was not as a gym goer or a gym bro or anything, just actually as something that I could be competitive with, to replace like football, rugby, other stuff.
I was probably still playing. I was playing five-a-side football probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So
great.
All the way up to about 3 years ago. I probably can't do it now. I wouldn't want to do it now, but.
Before you started powerlifting, then, like, say, between being the age of being a kid and, like, say, your early 20s, like, what sports would you play, and how frequently, like what?
So I was football mad all the way up till 14 years old. And then when I was 14, actually, my appendix ruptured. It's put me in hospital, and I was in a bad way for a long time. And then when I come out of that, I had no core strength at all. I lost all athletic ability. All my body weight I was told by the doctors that I was really underweight, and I needed to start going to the gym or do something to get heavier and to put some weight on. So that's why I got into the weight training. And then once I got into the weight room and started lifting and putting weight on and stuff, I just lost all motivation to do and lost confidence as well at that age as well, to do anything team related, which is why I kind of made the move over to kind of training with weights more than I did MMA for a bit, BJJ for a bit. But back before it was cool. So there was like one person in our town doing it, and that was it. And then dabbled in again, like just playing five-a-side and stuff every week or something with mates and that. And then powerlifting come. So it was really quite a definitive moment from playing team sports up until 14, getting ill, losing physical strength, mental confidence and stuff. And then I just sort of went into my shell a little bit, and then started getting involved into the gym, and then doing, single man sports.
Brilliant. So you've gone to your parents' house now, have you?
Yeah.
So how would your parents describe what you do in terms of the Strongman?
They love it. My mum, my mum can't make it to the shows. She's just busy at home and stuff. But my dad has been to the last 3 shows now, and I've managed to get him backstage a couple of times. And he's like a kid at Christmas. He's running around. He's trying to get signatures of everybody and stuff. He just absolutely loves it. And he was trying to come to Worlds with me as well, but we just crunched the numbers, and it's going to cost him way too much, way too much. So hopefully next year I'll be able to pay for him, and he can come out with me.
Brilliant. So that leads us nicely into the next question. If you won £10 million, what would you spend it on? If you won £10 million in your bank account today, how would your life change? What would you spend it on? And
I'm not materialistic in the slightest, so I would honestly just. We're moving house soon anyway. I'm going to have access to my own home gym soon. I would probably just kit that out with everything that I want. Never work a day in my life again. I do like the online coaching and stuff, but I would just, honestly, I'd be happy just living and training, and that'd be it, really. a boring life, a secluded, boring life. Yeah, that's for me.
How would your life change then if you went full time on Strongman? Like, how would your daily routine change? Your weekly routine?
Massively. So I'm still, although my hours have been reduced at work now after Europe's and the online coaching starting to take over more and more, I'm still twice a week. I'm training until 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and then being up again at 5. And 3 hours sleep at this level is just it's a disaster waiting to happen, in my opinion, which is why I'm urgently trying to get out of this. So if I change, if I make the transition to full-time strongman, I think it'll make a massive difference. I'll be able to up my recovery game massively, and then I could just put more focus into the strongman. And I don't want to kind of rush this, if you know what I mean. So after Worlds is out the way, I get married 3 weeks after, and then obviously the Giants Live calendar, you've got the Royal Albert Hall, which I can't do anyway because I'm on honeymoon, and then you've got the deadlift championships, which if they invite me to, I'll refuse to do it. No disrespect there, but I want some time off. That's as simple as that. And then I may do one competition at the end of the year if they invite me to like the tour finals or something like that, or maybe another competition like the Magnus Fur Classic or something. But one more competition after Worlds this year, and that's me done for this year.
Brilliant. So finally, to wrap up, where can potential sponsors and listeners, clients, potential clients who want coaching, where can they find you online?
So online at the moment, my Instagram @_Shane Flowers. My email is shaneflowerscoaching@outlook.com. And I'm actually currently in the process of designing a website, which will come out soon. So that'll be flowersstrength.co.uk. But that will have more material about my brother and stuff as well. It would be like a joint website for that. But we're hoping to get that out within the next couple of months.
Brilliant. So we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for your time, Shane. Looking forward to seeing you, how you get on with everything. I'm a real fan. So speak soon,
Cheers, mate. Thank you,
Bye.
mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.